All right. Hello. I certainly hope you're doing well today. I'm going to knock that down a little bit. Hopefully, you can still hear me and everything will be good. So, one of my methods when I'm working with people, when I coach people, when I'm helping them grow, whether it's personally, spiritually, business, that I like to start out with is a technique that I like to call the 4Ds. And that's discipline, distance, direction, and destination. And I'd like to go as deep as I can with these because these have effectively become the foundation of the conversation that I'm going to have with the person I'm coaching. Sorry about that. So I start with the end in mind. I start with the destination, and the context for the destination is somewhere between where you are today and when you are no longer present in the world that we currently occupy. So somewhere between today and when you're no longer a part of this earth and universe or whatever, there's somewhere in a day that you espouse to have a destination that you're seeking to reach. That's why you get up every day. That's why you work. That's why you do what you do for a living. That's why you have the relationships you have. That's the destination. So the destination is kind of a culmination of all of the hard work that you're doing. It's not retirement. We'll talk about that in a second. But what I work people through is tell me where you want to go. And when I say tell me where you want to go, I mean not just a place or a location, or I get as granular as I can. So what I want you to think about is the day that you no longer have to exchange your time, talent, and ability for money, you'll be in a place. And it might be, a very specific geographic location. It might be a financial location. But what I want you to be able to do is describe that to me. So one of the questions I ask is, what will your coffee taste like? What will your coffee taste like? You get up in that first morning where you've arrived at your destination. If you're a coffee drinker like I am, that's the first thing you're going to do. It's part of my morning routine. I get up, I let the dogs out, I put food in their bowls, water in their bowls, and then I go make my coffee. And on the day that I don't have to exchange time, talent, and ability for money anymore, I want to know what kind of coffee I'm having. What does it taste like? What view am I looking at when I walk outside? I know for me, it's always been, a mountain stream, cool, crisp air. Fall to me has always had a smell, and for whatever reason, I my destination exists perpetually in the fall, because that cold, crisp air has a smell to it and a feeling to it, and coffee just tastes better when it's a little cold outside. And so we really just start unpacking that and getting to a place where we can visualize it, where we can see it, where we can not tangibly hold it, but mentally we can grasp what that's going to be. And then we work backwards. So my question then is, once we look at your destination, I ask you, is your life, is your career, is what you do, is that leading you in the direction of that ultimate destination? Are you getting there? Can you see yourself getting there? If you were on a train, are you moving in the direction that's going to get you to that destination? If the answer is yes, fantastic. If the answer is no, and then we have to realign in our direction. We have to figure out, okay, what's it going to take to get us off these tracks and get us on the tracks that's going to get us to the destination that we're working to achieve. And next we're going to talk about the distance. So, all right, how long am I going to be on the train? How long am I going to be on the train? Am I going to be on there for the next 10, 15, 20 years? Or is it a 2 year stint and I'm there? And that's fantastic. The distance is relevant, but it's not the most important factor. The destination by far is the most important factor. The direction follows suit. Then we look at, okay, what's the distance? And I know that distance is simple. It's just how much time, how much money, how much effort. What is it? How many? Like, what do I have to get? That's the distance, and that's the time and the gap. And then the next question is a simple question, and yet it might be difficult in practice. And it's, do you possess the discipline to do the necessary things every day in order to accomplish that which you say that you want to accomplish? And so I ask this, and it's a different answer for every human, and it's a different reality for every human. But discipline beats motivation every single time, because discipline is doing the things you need to do whether you want to do them or not. And so I'm not really concerned if you want to do them. I'm concerned about whether you have the desire or the willingness to do them on the days that they just don't feel like the most valuable thing. So, what I want you to understand is destination is not meant. We assume that discipline is doing the thing, okay? So, You just have to possess that. And I believe this, that if the destination has become real enough in your mind and you can conceptualize it, then discipline is a natural outgrowth of understanding your destination. And so, what I want you to hear from me, the destination is not an escape from work. Um, it's simply the reward of being disciplined for a long enough timeline that you get to choose what your next opportunity venture is. Your destination is not an escape from work. Retirement is not an escape from work. Retirement is a positional opportunity. Retirement means I've accomplished enough from a business perspective that now I get to focus on something different, but I still must maintain something to focus on. Because if you retire and you stop doing, and you stop growing, and you stop seeking, you stop learning, then you've reached a state of existence that isn't challenging you anymore. It's not growing you anymore. And we know what happens when we stop growing. And so a generation of people are looking at retirement as an escape, and a generation of people are looking at passive income so they don't have to work so they can go travel. And I think that they're missing kind of what I think is one of the most fulfilling opportunities, which is the journey itself. And I don't want to be cliche about it. I don't mean that, work a job you hate because the journey is the fulfillment. No, if you're working a job you hate, please go do something else. If you're working a job you hate, please hear me, go do something else. For the love of all goodness, go do something different. Life is far too short to do something you hate every day. Now, here's the issue. If what you hate makes you a lot of money, then the result of that money, if that does something for you, that's a different conversation that might merit having. But perhaps the deep inside of you the who that's deep inside of you doesn't need the money. Maybe you've just been incorrectly impressed upon. Maybe Instagram lied to you. Maybe going and traveling in pretty blue oceans, that sounds good on its face, but if you don't have a relationship to share it with, if you're not comfortable in your own mind, and you can't be at peace with yourself, I don't care how blue the water is, it's not going to be beautiful to you. Because we got to stop learning to escape from things. Vacation is either an escape from reality, or it's just a different place to be present. And so you can be just as present as you want to if the relationships around you fulfill you enough. If you're confident enough in who you are, and what you have and what you have to give, I would venture to argue that you could be just as comfortable right where you sit as opposed to a beautiful beach. Now, if you love beautiful beaches, that's fantastic. Go pursue them. If that brings you joy and energy, by all means. I'm not discounting or discrediting that. I'm just saying that I would love for you to be just as joyful in your backyard as you are on vacation. I would endeavor for you to be just as peaceful as you are in your backyard as you are on vacation. So when you get to your destination, effectively you start over. You wash, rinse, repeat, and you go, okay, what's my new destination? What's my new direction? What's my new distance? And what's the discipline that I require? Like, my dad always told a story about how one day he wanted to retire and then pursue the PGA Tour, the senior tour. And he wasn't able to do that from a physical perspective, but that was his retirement destination. So once he achieved a financial and a work retirement, his next discipline and desire was to become a golfer on the senior PGA Tour. And while that didn't happen for him, it didn't mean that the pursuit was any less worthy or worthwhile. And so, what I want you to think about is the destination begets the next destination. And so, it doesn't have to be retirement. That's why I specifically said, what is your destination, not when is your retirement date? Because those are two different things, I think. Now, that leads me to a question of why we do what we do. And I won't tread where others have done such a great job. I mean, go read Start With Why, go read The Golden Circle. Simon Sinek has done an amazing job of plumbing the depths of why we do what we do. And starting with why and learning that. And I think that there's a generation of people that are starting to comprehend and explore and dig deep into why they do what they do. And I think that there is a place deeper. I think that there is a place deeper that is not being explored, that's not being spoken of. And because it's not being explored and spoken of, it's manifesting itself in a really odd way. And that's who we are. I don't think we know who we are. I don't think we know the foundational who. And thus, there are a lot of people that are espousing beautiful, great, and powerful whys, and they're pursuing them, but they're finding themselves unfulfilled at the realization of the why. Because when they work the why and the how and the what out, they don't know who they are in the doing. And the why can be big enough, the how will figure itself out, and the what is the direct result. But if you aren't convinced and at peace with who you are in the doing of it, at worst, I think you'll find discord. Because when I say we don't know who we are, what I mean by that is we can give titles, we can describe what we are. Don't go there. I'm not having that conversation. But we can describe what we are. Like many people, if they ask me, well, who are you? I would give them a list of titles. I'm a real estate broker. I'm a business coach. I'm a husband, a father, a son, a this and a that. I'm a Georgia Bulldog. I'm a football fan. I'm a history major. I could give you a whole bunch of what's, but can I tell you who I am? I can tell you what I am, but I can't tell you who I am. And so some of you have heard me say this, and some of you have not heard me say this, but when people ask me who I am, I tell them that I'm a child of the one true God, powerfully equipped for the tearing down of strongholds and the building up of people. That's a purpose, a mission, and a reality to me. And that standing and how I view myself affects the what's that I am. So I am a father, I am a husband. And who I am allows me to do well in those arenas. Because of my position and my understanding about who I am on an eternal scale, it allows me to be effective as a father and a husband. My wife and I communicate well together, not because I'm a good husband. I'm a good husband and we communicate well together because I'm a child of God, powerful, equipped for the tearing down of strongholds and building up of people. That influences everything else. You see, what happens if I don't know who I am and I go pursue a purpose and a why and I put myself in positions that's incongruent with who I am, I don't show up the way that I should. Just because you have the title of a father doesn't mean you're good at it. And you might not be good at it because it's incongruent with who you are. And maybe if we realized that beforehand, we could work on it or not get into that situation to begin with. That might be hard to hear and I might get scrutiny for it, but at the end of the day, I would rather get scrutiny for saying something that I believe is worth exploring. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying I'm right. I'm simply saying that it's worth exploring, and if we're exploring it and we're thinking about it, maybe we come to a different consciousness or a different understanding that, hey, we can grow from. So if we're taught to describe what we are, not who we are, and we haven't explored maybe who we are to the depth of it, and we haven't explored it certainly to the core, I think that's a worthwhile thing to ponder. I don't know that there is an answer. I don't know that there is a resolution. I don't know that there is a situation where we can lay hold of something here. I just feel like it's not thought of or talked about enough, and we spend more time talking about what we are and not who. And I think that there are too many people that would tell you what they are, not who they are, because they don't know, because they've never been taught, because they've never given the tools to search it out. So I want to give the tools to search it out. I'm still figuring out what they are. I just think that when we are confronted here, we have to figure out, okay, what's the difference between what and who? And I think that that's where I want to start. You can tell me all the lists of what you are. Now, that's wonderful. I love all of those titles that you've accrued and possess and that you are, but what's behind that? Specifically, who's behind that? And that's what I want to search for. That's what I want to search with. I think as a coach and a trainer, these, real estate broker, whatever, all the things that I get to do, all of the manifestation of the purpose I think that is my life. I get to do those things and I get to explore, and I want to have a conversation and go deeper, because the value in humans is just that they are humans, and they're not going to make another one of you. There's never going to be another one of you. So I'd love to learn who you are, not just what you are and what you do. So I don't know, maybe more thought provoking than I wanted to be today. Maybe not. Maybe I enjoy this too much. And at the same time, thank you for spending time with it and thinking about it. And I'd love to hear what you think. So, like the video, subscribe, comment, all those things. Give me feedback. Tell me where you think I went well, where you think I might have gone wrong. I'm interested more in the dialogue than anything else. So, thanks again. I appreciate all of you, and always here if you need me. So, give me a shout. Thanks.